So today we're doing something a little different. We're going to tour around Lake Erie College, but we thought that the handicap parking sign inside the bush was kind of cool. So that's what we're starting out with. And Lake Erie College started in 1834. So there'll be a lot of older buildings, which is part of the reason we're touring it. But I find colleges kind of neat to explore. And here we go. And Lucy is already checking out the smells. Here she comes. Lucy's going to try and get a higher education degree. So right here is Morley Music Hall. And I don't know if you can, I guess, I'm not even sure what those things are. What do you think those things are up there? Are they those, huh? Yeah, gargoyles. That's what I was trying to think of. There's some pretty metal work on the windows too. So, not sure what that building, what hall that is, but again, another nice old one. I know that, I don't know if music is a major, but they do have the music hall there, and I do know they have languages. And what's kind of cool, now they don't have the equestrian site on campus here, but they do have equestrian degree, which I always thought was kind of cool. And then there's a more modern hall. Lake Erie College is in Paynesville, so it is the county seat and kind of busy. So as I said, they do have a modern hall right here. And again, I'm not seeing a sign telling us anything about it, but that might be an administration building. I don't know. They have some nice kind of antique-ish lights here too. And of course I have to show you the nature. There be a squirrel. We have Austin Hall here, which I think has some nice archwork there. That one looks, it might be a little old, but it might be younger too. So I don't know the age on it. Oh, yeah. Oh, that one definitely is new, but it does have nice archwork. The keystone, right? The things that tell you the date of the buildings. I Keystone is what they call the things for the buildings that tell you how old they are. Cornerstone says 2010. So it's in a historic, it's built historically, but it's very young. They got lots of squirrels and a bird chirping. And we'll come down here and show you the waterfall. Fountain, rather. Yeah, fountain. And we'll catch we saw the back of this building, and I told you I didn't know what it was. So this actually is Kilgullen Hall. So you can see how it's in the need of a paint job, but I'm not seeing the cornerstone, so I don't know how old this one is. And we'll show you the fountain. To get to the fountain are steps, so I'm not going that way, but I can show you the fountain. And there's a statue here of Tiberius. I did not see him in anything looking up the college, so I don't know the story behind this at all, and there's nothing really telling you the story behind him. And there's also a painted pumpkin, Frankenstein pumpkin here. And it's right in front of a tree that you get in some nice fall colors. Today is September 22nd. Pay no attention to the no, not September 22nd, October 22nd. And there, if I'm getting it, is some kind of big bug. I don't know what kind of bug that is, but it sure is big. They got a rock here. As Mrs. said, it looks kind of like a dog there. And then if you come over here, the same section looks like a woodpecker. So that's really cool.
See the art.
See the art and everything. Shout out to our good friends Gypsy and Vanilla Gorilla. And they got a little gazebo there. Not really sure what that's about or for either, but they have it. And throughout, they got the big lawn chair type things for you to sit on and enjoy the sights and the trees and nature. College Hall is getting worked on. And again, you can see some nice railing and balcony there. And there's a big oak leaf there. Isn't that oak?
No, that's not oak.
Is that tulip?
No,
Big
no.
tulip. It's either oak or tulip. It's a big leaf. It's a big tulip leaf. So the Arthur Holden Center, if you'd like to train for boxing and be like Rocky, you can run up and down no steps. Yeah. Oh geez. And there's a, I don't know if you can see that, the light's sticking out of the tree there. I think that's really, even though it's more modern, I like the triangular window tops of the building there. I'm not sure. So this tree here is an eastern redbud tree? Yeah. Eastern redbud tree, which I have never heard of such a plant, tree, animal, anything. But that's what that is, eastern redbud, which is cool. And there's some of the fall colors, the yellow tree.
The light yellow one, that was really pretty.
Yes, it is. And now we're coming up on the James F. Lincoln Library, which looks to be another modern building. And it seems the libraries are always one of the more modern buildings on campuses. Why? I don't know. But most campuses that I've been on, that's what it seems like to me. And they have some Halloween decorations. This is I guess, the front of College Hall that we saw that they're doing some work on. So I think that's another really pretty building. So this is Royce Hall, which is the Fine Arts Center, and it's very I like the lines of it. I don't like just square boxes, even though this is boxed. It's a bunch of boxes together, which I think is kind of cool. They stick out, and again, another more modern building. And this looks like a very modern one. I don't know the whole name or anything. That's probably on the front, and we're in the back of it. And if you look, you can see the a real red one popping up on top, and then there's more golden ones over here. So we're really getting into the fall colors now. So I showed you the back of this. This is got some nice flowers and gardens here, and this is Garfield Center. And we're coming up on HVCAR, Lake Erie College. I don't know if that's like their student memorial center or what that is. And then they got a little picnic table here and some benches. And we'll read to you about Garfield Senior College Garden. In grateful appreciation to Garfield Senior College alumni and friends, Dr. Morris W. Jr., blah, blah, a bunch of people's names. So they dedicated this little thing. And we'll sit down and take a little break. And I guess they got a fountain here too at times. Robert Maloney, Laura Guinness, in grateful appreciation, October 2012. Wanted to show you the pretty big praying mantis there. I'll have a short, not of him when at home, but he's pretty cool. I don't know. So earlier we did see the Helen Rockwell Memorial. I'm not sure what I called it music because I thought the B was a U. So I'm not totally sure, but the front here is really cool. The back is the entrance for the handicap. Everywhere in, of course, in the college is handicapped accessible and pretty friendly. They got some flowers that Mrs. is going to check out. And Lucy is no longer with us because we brought her for her bath and massage and get pampered at the groomers. So now it's just Mrs. and me. So here we have the Henry J. Kohenke Gardens as a continuing memorial to Henry J. Kohenke in this 125th anniversary year of Lake Erie College. In recognition of his service to the college as a member of the Board of Trustees from 1955 to 1972 and as an honorary member from 1972 to 1979, and for his contributions as an outstanding Lake County nurseryman to the aesthetics beauty of Lake Erie College, 1981. And there's the Lake Erie College sign. And Route 20 is what goes right by here. It's the main road. It's pretty centrally located between Route 2 and Interstate 90. Not very far trip. And this is from one of the buildings, the Chimes, this building that's covered by the trees right now. Yeah, not sure what it means. So we saw the back of College Hall, and they're doing some construction on it there too, but that's what's playing the music for us.
Lake Erie Female Seminary. Is that what this used to be?
I don't know. It's a women's right walkaway. Mary Evans, principal of former Lake Erie Female Seminary, spoke at 1885 convention of Ohio Women Suffrage Association. Seminary pupils also attended convention. And there's a bunch of other signs about the suffrage. Ohio Women's Suffrage Association, 1885 convention. Foundation, September 1869. The Ohio Women's Suffrage Association led Ohio women in the struggle for the right to vote for nearly half a century. It was founded in Cincinnati with suffrage leaders Susan B. Anthony and Lucy Stone in attendance. The purpose of the organization was to advance the cause of women's suffrage and thereby to make our government, in fact, what is in theory a government of the people. I wonder if they fought for... Members chose not to affiliate with some of the national suffrage organizations, focusing primarily on a campaign to change local and state laws that blocked women's right to vote. Unlike many local, state, and national suffrage groups, the OWSA did not discriminate against those seeking membership and actually encouraged African American women to join the effort. Which is what I was going to say. You know, I wonder if they were fighting for the Negroes. So, yes, and Hispanics and Indians and, you know, all that fun stuff. Women in higher ed. Kathy was looking at how they dressed, and she was saying how horrible that would have had to have been to have to dress like this. Female leadership in the field. Mary Evans was the first president of Lake Erie College when it received its charter from the state and was previously principal when the institution was Lake Erie Female Seminary. She was a graduate of Mount Holyoke Female Seminary class of 1860. Evans worked closely with other women in higher education like Louette Bentley to increase women's impact in higher education and to influence women in the region for the women's suffrage cause. Painesville Equal Rights. Frances Jennings Casement, 1840 to 1928. Frances Jennings Casement was born in 1840 to Charles Jennings and Mehetabel Park Jennings, one of the founding families of the Western Reserve, and spent her upbringing on a 400-acre farm referred to as Jennings Place. Jennings was an agriculturist who served his district in the Ohio House of Representatives from 1854 to 1856, a staunch opponent of slavery. Casement graduated from the Painesville Academy in 1852 and attended Willoughby Female Seminary, the predecessor institution to Lake Erie Female Seminary, now Lake Erie College. She married John S. Jack Casement in 1857. The support and influence of her father and husband encouraged her convictions and afforded her an early source of respectability in the community. Betsy Mix Cowles, a women's rights advocate, 1850s. Ohio's first women's rights convention, arguably the second known convention of its kind in the nation, 2 years after the Women's Rights Convention of Seneca Falls, was held in Salem on April 19th to the 20th, 1850 at the Hicksite Quaker Friends Meeting House. Through her extensive connections in both the abolitionist and women's rights circles, Cowles was elected to preside over the convention, which was called for as the state of Ohio was planning to convene a new constitutional convention that May. The Women's Convention produced a memorandum to be presented to the state legislature calling for women's suffrage. Organizers and attendees of the 1850 convention resolved to hold annual meetings to promote the cause, creating the statewide standing committee. As a member of the committee, Cowles helped organize the 1851 Women's Rights Convention in Akron, where she presented on labor and wages. This was the site where Sojourner Truth delivered her world-renowned "Ain't I a Woman" speech, recalling the hardships as she endured a formerly enslaved woman. Ellen Spencer Mussie, Pathways to Reform in Law, 1850 to 1936. Early life and local ties. Ellen Spencer Mussie was born and raised in Geneva, Ohio. Her father, Platt Rogers Spencer, was known for being a reformer and conceptualizing the Spencerian penmanship, a style of cursive handwriting. Spencerian penmanship was considered the American de facto standard for business correspondence prior to the adoption of the typewriter, and Mussie served as an assistant at his penmanship school, the Spencerian Business College, before his death when she was 14. Following her father's death, she moved to reside with her relatives and attended Rice's Young Ladies Seminary in Poughkeepsie, New York. She returned to her Ohio roots to attend Lake Erie Female Seminary, now Lake Erie College, in 1865 to 66, and also attended Rockford College in Illinois. In 1869, Mussie moved to Washington, D.C., where she attended her first suffrage meeting and met her husband, Reuben Delavan Mussie, a former Union Army colonel and successful lawyer. Gaining an interest in law, Mussie applied to several law schools in the D.C. area, including National University and Columbian College. She was denied admission to all, as at that time most universities did not see women fit to practice law. Mussie continued her pursuit of a career in law by tutoring herself and studying under her husband at his law office, as well as conducting his law practice during his bout with malaria. Reuben passed away in 1892, which likely ceased Mussie's ability to continue at his practice. Nonetheless, Mussie received special consideration in her request to be admitted to the bar exam, bypassing the written exam and passing the oral exam in 1893. She was admitted to the American Bar Association and was one of few women in her time to be admitted to practice before the Supreme Court bar in 1896. Harriet Taylor Upton, supported by citizens of Trumbull County and Judge Mary Jane Trapp. Representation for women. Upton involved herself in numerous local, state, national, and even international organizations related to suffrage as well as temperance, education, and other political affairs. She was a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution and Women's Christian Temperance Society. In 1890, she was the first woman elected to the Warren Board of Education. In 1920, she was elected vice chairman of the executive committee of the Republican National Committee, the first woman to serve on the highest national body of Republican politics. She stepped down from said position in 1924 to pursue a position in Congress, following in the footsteps of her father, but was unsuccessful in the primary election in Ohio's 19th district. Known not only as an activist and equal rights advocate, Upton was also notable in society as a great orator and writer. She was a prolific author of children's books and historical narratives, including but not limited to A History of the Western Reserve, A 20th Century History of Trumbull County, and her memoir, Random Recollections. The Road to Women's Suffrage. After reaching the 36 states required to ratify the 19th Amendment was adopted into law on August 26, 1920. The handful of national suffrage organizations dissolved and resolved to form the League of Women Voters, led by Carrie Chapman Catt, to focus on the duty of helping women carry out their newfound responsibility of voters. It was not until the Voting Rights Act of 1965, signed into law by President Johnson, prohibiting racial discrimination in voting eligibility, that racial minorities made great advancement in the battle for truly equal suffrage. The struggle continues today as equal rights advocates battle against prevailing political and social issues such as racial gerrymandering. And that is on the sign. Mr. Traveler's not going to go into that stuff. Florence Elwood Allen. Justice for Women, 1910 to 1960s. Allen not only advocated for women's representation in the legal field, but also in political affairs. She was a member of the National Association of Business and Professional Women and the National Association of Women Lawyers, and often spoke at conventions, conferences, and the civic organizations and women's clubs. Early in her law practice, Allen got involved in important suffrage cases. She was inspired by leaders such as Susan B. Anthony and Anna Howard Shaw. Attending their lectures as a young girl, she was active in the Women's Suffrage Party, challenging laws that limited women's participation in the political process. She argued one popular case that went all the way to the Ohio Supreme Court and won the women of East Cleveland the right to vote in municipal elections in 1916. In 1947, she was asked by the American Academy of Political and Social Science to do a study of women's voting patterns to assess whether they were active in the political process after securing the long sought-after right in 1920. After her research, Allen expressed that while many women were in fact voting, a shift was taking place in which the dynamic leaders who had fought for equal suffrage and participation for women in public life were deceased and not yet replaced by a new generation of activists. So this building here, which is kind of older, is the Ritchie Athletic Training Center. And I hope you enjoyed our tour of Lake Erie College today. I hope you gave us a thumbs up. And if you like this type of video, subscribe and hit that notification bell. And let it give us a comment. Let us know what you think. And whether you need a rollator, a cane, wheelchair to help you get out and tour colleges, parks, whatever it might be. It's not making you handicapped. It's making you handy capable. Thank you all for joining us. Have a great day. God bless.